It's a great day. My name is Davina Lyons, and I am an educator and the founder of the Tribe Authentic Women Workshop, where I help women learn to embrace their authentic self so they can reach their highest potential. When I was 12 years old in middle school, I signed up to perform in a talent show. For some reason, I chose singing as my talent. The song was Killing Me Softly by Roberta Flack. I stepped out on that stage and the instrumental track began to play. And by the time I arrived at the chorus and managed to belt it out, someone yelled from the audience, "You're killing me softly with your singing." Instead of continuing to sing, I froze. Something within me snapped. For the first time ever, I spoke up for myself. The background music stopped. The moans, groans, and laughter finally stopped. I put my left hand on my hip and began to deliver a speech chastising whoever that was in the audience who had the nerve to rudely insult me. I had the courage to get up there, and that person was a coward for bullying me. I never knew who actually said it, but in that moment, it was truly empowering to respond the way that I did to the entire audience. Immediately following that talent show, I was approached by Mr. H.R. Thomas, a community activist who took a special interest in volunteering and working with school children in the community. His nickname was Rock. He became my rock. I thought Mr. Rock Thomas was the coolest ever. He asked me if I liked public speaking. I said, I guess so, not really understanding his question. He told me about an oratorical competition coming up and encouraged me to prepare an 8 to 10 minute speech on the topic of my choice. Well, at the time, I'd heard a lot about the Equal Rights Amendment, and it was a really big deal. So, although Congress had passed the amendment in March of 1972, which was many years prior to that, there were still several states yet to ratify it, and the state of Washington was one of them. I chose this topic for my first speech competition. So at age 12, I knew absolutely nothing about the broader perspectives of women's rights, but I did my best to research it. I froze during that speech and forgot every single word. I also placed last in that competition. Well, hell, there was only three of us. I ran off crying to the basement of the church where the competition was held, and a lady I didn't even know followed me. I had no one else there, no other supporters, just me. This stranger gently expressed the importance of not giving up. She told me to hold my head high and go back upstairs and stand with the others. I respectfully did what she asked. That day, I took home my first medal. It was bronze. I'm so glad I listened to her because that became a defining moment in my life and the reason I'm speaking to you today as a comeback champion. So when I think about identity and your thoughts, feelings, and actions, that is the process by which you are really determining what your true voice is. So oftentimes you may think that you are operating and using your authentic voice when in fact you're not. In fact, you're using the voice of those around you. You're using the voice of that which you've been exposed to for so many years. And you have learned to people please. You've learned to go along to get along. And you've learned to do what you believe is going to net you the best value, even if it's a compromise of your values. And so, this is why it's important to stop, recenter, identify who you really are. Ask yourself, who am I? And if that
if the response is differing from what you see and experience on a daily basis, then you know you've compromised. So, identifying your thoughts, feelings, and actions should be an ongoing, everyday occurrence, especially when you have any situations or circumstances that are uncomfortable. And then once you really understand your voice, understand where you're coming from, what you believe in versus what you don't believe in, now it's time to exercise courage. You have to be courageous to now walk that path that you didn't want to walk before because you were afraid to upset someone or alienate or basically change your way of being, which means it would change your circle of friends and influence. But now you're courageous. Now you're confident and you're disciplined and you have a vision of an end, a goal. And in doing so, you start to use your voice more. You start to stand up for what is right. You start to say, I'm not going to compromise anymore. I've made my mind up personally and professionally. This is how I will conduct my business. This is how I will live my life. And so with courage, confidence, and discipline, you have a very good focus on the vision of the future, of what you expect to see. And once you've gotten to a very comfortable point with that, the next thing is elevating. That is the title, elevating. Now it's time to raise it up a bit, right? Elevating your authentic voice simply means you are in it to win it with unwavering resolve, right? It's about self-mastery. It's about that championship stuff. That's why we're talking at this summit. It's about understanding and inspiring action in others because guess what? Your cup's full. When you've done your work finding and using your authentic voice, your cup is full. Now it's time to inspire action in others. Now it's time to render powerful outcomes, both personally and professionally. You have a different walk. You have a different talk. You are confident. You understand exactly what you're working with in most cases, and you are not afraid of being vulnerable or making any type of commitment that's going to net you a true increase. That's what a comeback champion is. That's what a comeback champion is. Your authentic voice is made up of many experiences. And there are several different lenses in which you can look through in order to see a person. Your authentic voice is made up of many experiences. And there are several different lenses in which you can look through in order to see a person and how they're showing up. Your voice, your authentic voice, is really governed by your identity, your personality, your behavior, your values, what you believe, the things you believe you need, the motivations in your life, the choices you make. All of these things help you to show up a specific way, a unique way. So now that we understand the context in which I mean authentic and voice, let's talk about living authentically, right? So I want to share with you 7 principles of authentic living. These principles help you from day to day in your personal development growth. Number 1, be aware of your thoughts, feelings, and actions at all times. That means be present and be intentional. Understand what you're thinking. Understand how you're feeling. And more importantly, be aware of your actions as they align with what you think and what you feel. Number 2, embrace your uniqueness. It's okay to be different. It's fine to be different. In fact, difference gets the right attention oftentimes. Trying to be like everyone else, that's a waste of time. Number 3, be empathetic to yourself and others. Have some understanding. Know what it's like. Put yourself in that place. Remember when you were there. And number 4, be open to different perspectives. It's not just your perspective that's right all the time. That's a tough one for a lot of people. Think about maybe the other person is thinking about it from a different lens for a different reason. Number 5, be accountable for your actions. Take responsibility for your part in a situation and say, I am accountable. I get it. This is what I could have done better. Number 6, find value in your past experiences, good and bad. There's so many things that I can point back to, especially when I think about that 12-year-old girl who decided that she wanted to use her authentic voice. There was a lot going on at that time, but what I choose to remember specifically is the growth points. I may have experienced some adverse things, but at the same time, there was a lot of good, positive experiences that I grew from, good and bad. And number 7, my personal favorite, be a lifelong learner. Understand that everything that you are exposed to has a lesson in it in one way or the other. Be open, learn as you move through life. Did I mention that I'm an educator? Yes, and there's always an assignment. So for you, it's these questions. Ask yourself, am I aware of my thoughts and feelings when experiencing a setback? Whose report do I believe about myself? Do I trust myself and believe in what I think and feel about myself? Or do I find what others say to be more important? Have I considered various perspectives? Have I thought about it in other ways other than the way that's most comfortable for me? Have I been accountable for my part in the situation or circumstance? What could I have done better? And last, what past experiences have I had that can help me in the present? I'm always thinking back on that talent show. And the reason is because there's so many great nuggets as to why I am who I am today and how I handle things. Even at that young age, at 12, I was handling things very successfully. As for the 12-year-old me, well, today I'm grateful for that heckler in the audience. That experience helped me to realize who I was early in life. It's okay to pivot or shift, but not quit. You're already a champion. If you show up repeatedly, you are a comeback champion. Now you get to inspire action in others and create positive outcomes that will help to improve this world. Women, I invite you to be my guest at the next Tribe Authentic Woman workshop, where we explore one aspect of the 8 steps to mastering authenticity. Drop me a note with Comeback Champion in the subject line on my contact form at DavinaLyons.com. And men, please invite the women in your life that deserve to live their authentic best life. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned in to more of the Comeback Champion Summit. My name once again is Davina Lyons, and I am a comeback champion.